We're good, Susie.
Are we good? So I'm calling the meeting to order at
Full house.
6:02.
Look at this.
I know.
Nice, huh?
And we should do a roll call.
Cliff Bryant.
Here.
Jesse Cup.
Here.
Juju Thompson. John Whitebread.
Yo.
Regina Sakles.
Here.
Lacey Rathbun.
Here.
And Susie Murray.
Here. Sounds so good. Moving on to approve the minutes. Everybody read the minutes?
Yes. Sure.
Can I get a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I really agree.
Then we go on to or communications from the public. This is the bucket for comments from the public. Anybody?
Always online.
Nobody's online?
Yeah, it's online.
Are the people online, John, staff?
Yeah,
Or us? Or
yeah, it's
basically
it's us in the room as its own.
Okay, that's good to know that we know like which numbers. That's good. So we're going on to 5 upcoming agenda topics. That's for us. Anybody? Upcoming?
Questions or?
If you want to suggest one, like something that you.
I have a question, but I don't know where that would fit in. Maybe later.
Technically, it's under number 8.
Like the big bucket at the end is the miscellaneous.
Unless your question is,
Miscellaneous items.
You just stick around.
unless your question is, can we put this on the agenda?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we would think the question would go to an agenda.
Yes, it could.
Well,
Can I just pose this for learning's sake? Okay, so is her name, shoot, I don't even know the woman's name. She's supposed to, she was hired or she told me to do a mural, paint a mural, I think at Rankster. What?
Oh,
Starts with an M.
No.
Harumo. I ran into Harumo and she asked me, she's like, in 2020, I was told I was hired to do this. I was going to be making a mural and I haven't heard anything. And I feel like I'm a resident of Mountain View and I really want to do it, but it just seems kind of unprofessional and I'm kind of hanging and I don't know what's going on. So I don't know where that would fit in with our discussion, but I thought it should be
Okay.
just brought up or I don't know.
I can rephrase it into future agenda topic.
Okay.
More frequent updates in communication with artists, like that can be an agenda topic we can discuss.
And there's probably an underlying reason for that, which is the contractor requirement for muralists. So that could also be an agenda topic.
And then item 6.1, have the updates on CIP projects. So during that item, any kind of existing
Are you planning
projects.
to elaborate a bit?
Why don't we get there and we'll
Okay. sounds
try
good.
and
Yeah, here it is.
And the
Rangsdorf
conversation.
Park.
This is like clickbait.
It's on
It's,
here. All right.
So I actually would want to put that there, that agenda topic that in case, I would say, because that might need a little bit of lobbying on our side. So if we want to have that an agenda topic that statewide issue that muralists need a contractor license, should that be something we should discuss? And then my other topic would be a more extensive debrief about the study session, the art strategy, or how do we pick up the art strategy again? Something in that. Yeah. And that's usually one we don't open up to the public. Yeah. So then moving on to number 6, unfinished business, 6.1, update on key projects.
So I'll give an update, John, if you want to add me. So for the aquatic center, I'm still doing some ongoing construction. They're anticipating opening this fall. Fingers crossed, hoping to open this fall. So You'll see all the art is installed, so you can kind of see it
Are
from.
the technical
outside.
problems solved now?
Still working on the.
But they will be
Swimming
open.
pool issues.
Yeah, it was the technology,
Yeah,
right?
they would open, so if they are able to open this fall or winter, then it would be open. through
Okay,
winter.
it falls over soon, right? That
They
would
had
be-
no issues.
So,
Software
yeah,
issues.
they're. yeah.
Software issues.
It's-
Swimming
uh,
pool, between swimming systems, I hear this from the parks,
Yeah,
that they put in new systems that didn't really talk with each other. Turned out to be software or communication between two new systems.
It's a swimming pool.
it's
Yeah,
the
they had a
first
heater and-
facility, yeah, first facility fully heated
We had
electric.
heated.
It's the heat.
Okay.
thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Since it's already late fall.
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll have another update in December.
Can I make a request that maybe Jesse and I, or just me, forget about him, get included on any notices about when that's opening? Like to come?
For the Rangsdorf Park Maintenance and Tennis Building, so the murals are currently on hold due to the contractor license requirement issue, so a little update on that. It sounds like there are lobbyists talking to the contractor's state license board about changing this rule and excluding artists from it. It's still a little bit up in the air and we're not entirely sure what's going to happen, but it sounds like there's some positive reactions and feedback from that, so
Have the artists been informed that their projects are involved?
they're working with the Public Works team right now, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably important. I mean, those two, right, Fernanda and Paloma, that they really know what's going on.
Doesn't sound like Irma knows what's going on.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe they've been contacted
you've been
between
to the
what you heard
open
about
house,
and-
right? That's
Yeah.
when she told you.
She was just came
Yeah.
right up to me and it's just was like,
Yeah.
gosh, I haven't heard, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
She's such a sweetheart, but she was very like, it seems really unprofessional and I don't really, I've done things all over the world and this is,
Yeah.
but it's my city and, so I'm like, yeah, that's very reasonable and I'm sure we can find out something. for
She's
you.
a high caliber artist, for sure.
And then the only other update we have on these, or well, two other updates, sorry, on Evelyn Park, so they're working through construction right now of the park and finalizing the contract with the artist so that they can get the installation done and with the finishing of the park. And then for the Shoreline Boathouse expansion project, so the public art recommendation is going to the city council December 10th. And so we already have a meeting scheduled with Stephen Galloway the next day to touch base and we'll talk about the, depending on the outcome for both for the boathouse art and the
bench.
then we'll follow up with both.
Yeah.
of this.
Do we have any word on whether they're selling us the bench or not?
It is available for us.
The financing is.
It'll have to be approved by the city
Oh,
council.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
part of the package that
Yeah.
council needs to approve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we have the request in the council report. It is on the consent agenda for December 10th. So yeah, at the next VAC meeting, we would know.
And what about the transit center rate separation?
So our last update to this committee focused on council in the short term prioritizing the Rangsdorf grade separation project. They have been, so the focus was on Rangsdorf, working to get to 85% design for an estimate. And you may recall that the Castro grade sep got to 85% cost and it ballooned. So they're waiting to get the actual final estimate for Rangsdorf. The out provision was depending on where that number comes in at, whether they still prioritize Rangsdorf, that number doesn't come out as high as the Castro, maybe there's a chance to do the Castro, but the focus is Rangsdorf. Got the updated construction estimate. As soon as that is provided and brought back to council, they're gonna deliberate what project to prioritize. And that may be both. Likely not, but it may be both. So at that point, we'll have better clarification on the transit center grade set project. Staff did reach out to Martha and did advise her. We envisioned that estimate was gonna be coming this fall. It has not arrived yet. But as soon as we do have a number, we will advise Martha what that number is. Most likely what that outcome means. Staff has been in economic development and public works staff have been in conversations. There are potential aspects of the transit center augmentation that may move forward. Doesn't mean the whole grade set moves forward, but there are traffic improvements that are designed to occur in that space. And so we have been in conversation, is there a different type of project that may result? The last thing I will say in this bigger update is, which is not on this plan and something that we've talked about, but should council prioritize the Rangsdorf project, that does mean an art call for Rangsdorf grading set project. And that becomes a different conversation of if one's not moving forward, there's some consideration to the decision already been made. So a lot to discuss once we have a better understanding of the cost of Rangsdorf at this point in time. So it still remains a little bit in flux, but staff did reach out to Martha and advised her of this is where we're at. We're still waiting.
Do you have any estimate? Nothing expected this year?
What I was last told is should be any day now. That's my last check-in. And
Yeah.
The estimates are coming from Caltrans, not the city.
So they're, thank you for the refinement. Yes, so this is a number that is being coordinated with Caltrans as part of the grade set projects. And then I think the only other thing I would add on to the tennis buildings, there, just to be very transparent with the VAC. So one of the things that has happened administratively is once projects are approved by the VAC in terms of art, go to council for approval of a project. Those projects are now going back to the project engineer who's implementing the CIP project. And it is the engineer team that is now coordinating with the artist. That administrative change was done because the economic development team was having to go through multiple people to figure out what to put in a contract when we aren't controlling the project. So it does make for better alignment with what needs to be in a contract with an artist. And they can work directly with the artist to say, these are the changes that are going on. What are you doing with your project that we can use the construction budget to create foundations and things of that nature. So it is a more seamless approach from that perspective. One of the communication challenges might be happening is that until the project is identified, there's not a communication channel with an artist. So that is the difference, is now once it goes past council, there's a handoff to Public Works to manage the actual execution, conversation with the artist. Because economic development was just a third person in the middle of all this, trying to get information and then work with an artist and then back and forth, back and forth. So trying to cut out the middle piece. That may be why there is a disconnected communication.
Could there be like a disambiguation between, you know, the contract details and stuff that the project manager does and more general updates that economic development can still handle, like it's a statewide issue about contractors and it's. And
The
economic
Public
development
Works-
knows that.
Public Works intimately knows, they know the details actually much more than the economic development team does as they work in construction projects. So what I, not to speak on behalf of Kirsten, I think what we have heard is how can we better communicate with our teammates to ensure that there's a more regular communication, whether there is an update or not, just be in better communication.
If there is or not in both ways. And we probably have to also be aware that if you're not the middle person anymore, that communication between us and like what we decided in the meeting, that also gets passed on beyond council and to the engineering team. Because so far that was you, right? Who would-
Most of the time, the engineering project managers on these projects are.
They are in the
with you.
meeting. Yeah, that's true.
So when obviously you're making a recommendation, they're here.
Yeah.
When it goes to council, they're in the council chambers to answer the engineering related aspects of an art element as it relates to us.
That's good to know, yeah, that we remember that.
So I'm wondering about a process change or process improvement. We have regularly scheduled meetings and we discuss these topics. Could we have as an outcome of the discussion that we reach out to the artists and update them with what we know so that we're at least since we've dealt with them, we have contact with them, we get updates, maybe we can pass along as part of our meeting results, just an update to them on the AC. This is what we know. At least they'll get a contact back from us. Yeah, so that's a
After
suggestion.
each meeting.
Yeah, after each meeting.
We'll note that
Yeah, I mean, just.
as an update to this item, and we can figure out
Sure.
what that.
Yeah. See,
Sounds good. Moving on to new business. 7/41, 2025.
I don't
You're so nice. People don't care. Well, you're gonna be at every meeting.
You can dial in though.
Zooming in.
After 12 years, you're.
Cheering us
From
on.
Bruce England.
Cheering us.
Yeah.
But won't you have withdrawals, after 12 years, withdrawal symptoms? Every month?
You're right. No, it's true. It's true. You're not wrong. Yeah, I may just come and work.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, just as a quick. So with the 2025 calendar, we need to vote on it as part of the council policy K2. So we're proposing to continue the second Wednesday of each month at 6 p.m. It works out nicely, I think, in coordination with the other committees that meet in the city. And so the only dates that were just in line with past meetings, no meeting in January, and then continue to take the summer months off, so no meetings in July and August.
Works for me.
Is there any date that we checked, like if there's no date, that's on Wednesdays are not holidays.
Usually Monday.
Or vacation or any of those things.
We can always have a special, Need be, we
Yeah.
always have a special meeting in between like we did this summer.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to follow this.
More questions?
Need a motion?
Or are we ready for a motion? then?
So
Make a
no one
motion to
wanted
approve the meeting. schedule.
Are you motioning?
Motion.
I'm seconding.
All in favor? Fast.
Oh.
So,
Okay, that's good. Level 17. 7.2, meetings on the historical history. Our history event that was last week.
So I just want to give a quick overview.
So Kirsten and Cliff went.
And Don.
And Don? Oh, I didn't know.
I was just cheerleading.
Cheerleading.
Yeah, so the Mountain View Historical Association invited us to talk about the history of public art in Mountain View. So I just wanted to give a quick overview of the different presentations that we had. So this presentation is from Pamela Baird at the Mountain View Historical Association. So she really focused on just history of public art in general. And so what is public art? I'll go through these kind of quickly. If you want me to stop on anything, let me know.
And the link to the presentation is in the agenda.
Yeah, that was a longer presentation. I thought she was just gonna introduce you, but
Yeah.
she had some interesting stuff.
Yeah, she did. She showed a lot of examples of art, public art in other places. Yeah, I don't think any of these are in Mountain View. She talked about the difference between public art and public art on private property.
Went very international.
I think she has seen most of this art.
oh, I thought it was gonna be more local.
Give a little shout out to Arts Mountain View. Hers was the presentation was pretty cool. Then we had Jonathan Clark presented. He was a visual arts committee member at the very start of the visual arts committee, so 1986. And I wasn't able to get a hold of the presentation until just yesterday, so it wasn't in the memo, but I'll send you out for the community. Or wasn't in the agenda. And so Jonathan Clark was on the original VAC, so he gave a presentation on things that he had done as part of his time on the visual arts committee. So he gave, it was really interesting too. So a mission statement at the time. Dedicated to enlivening the imagination of citizens and enriching the spirit of the city. He talked about some projects that the VAC worked on at the time, so like some of the things that were memorable to me were like a sand castle sculpting contest on Castro or the Civic Plaza. They did a sculpture exhibit on the plaza at a different time, so they had some really like, unique visual arts programs at the time.
Well, and that some of the art that's around here now, including that dancer in the Performing Arts Center and the colorful guys right out here, was part of some of these original art exhibits they had. And the idea was we're gonna have a big exhibit and, you know, a lot of sculpture in what was then brand new downtown Mountain View. And then they kept some of it. So it was, there was a little less bureaucracy then than there is now.
I think this is in City Hall.
This is in City Hall.
I'm
right
not
now.
even sure where that is.
It looks like a proper gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he said he
Pretty
would,
hot back then, or?
he was buddies with Lawrence
You
Ferlinghetti.
can open the windows.
Is the windows like when you go in the.
Yeah.
Looks like those
Oh.
windows.
Okay, which floor?
So, yeah, they were all connected with all these, you know, really world-class Bay Area artists and just said, hey, you guys want to put on a show? Let's do it. So that's what stuff like this was.
So
Amazing.
Yeah, they had like
question
a
for
quilt.
staff.
Yeah.
If this was established in 1987 or 1981, 89, whatever, does that mean the Visual Arts Committee is not a charter committee? It came about later after? Okay.
Yeah, what I found was that there was an arts and culture committee.
Yeah.
And so they focused mostly on the performing arts and, then this visual arts jury was created. And then turned into a committee.
Oh, they had fundraising on that company.
Yeah, there's another example in here of, they put out basically ways to get involved and help public art in the community, and some of that was around fundraising and
Good idea.
sponsorships.
I think we still have some of those quilts. I've seen them around. The library.
Well, one of them's still up,
Yeah, yeah.
all wall up there by the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah. Talked a little bit about the
The bank.
bank too.
Yeah, that one.
What's happening?
They're saving. They're saving.
And that's Lawrence Ferlinghetti.
What?
Ferlinghetti.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know him on site.
And Jonathan said he made this and they had a bunch of prints available there. We do have some of these inside the community development department, hanging up on our wall.
No, I should have come hung around downtown more in 1994. I think it was the golden age of Mountain View art.
This treats itself to handsome public art.
Handsome.
That is
The
a good
Renaissance.
description.
I wanted to show this. So yeah, they had a pamphlet on ways to help support public art in the city. So sponsorships, art acquisition.
Link here or no?
No,
No, I don't think it is.
oh, no, it is.
What was that?
Is that in our staff?
Oh, no, so I just got a copy of the actual presentation, yesterday.
Oh, sure.
Can you send that to us?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, needless to say, that gallery space doesn't exist anymore. Right? That's offices now.
Well, it says 500. I mean, the building exists, but it is.
Yeah,
not
but
a gallery.
Offices are.
I'm not calling it a gallery.
And the reference to the quilt, that was located at 264 Castro Street, so that was named. Private building. Big little quilts.
We gave a little bit more background. I was able to find some old council minutes and agendas around the public art for the Visual Arts Committee establishment. And we talked about just the different policies and programs that we have around public art. And this is kind of similar to what we talked about at the public art strategy, just the different things that we already have existing in the city, biggest being percent for art, and then well, obviously the Visual Arts Committee, percent for art, and then Center for Performing Arts. Just some more information about the percent for art program. And then when I talked about just the art selection process and how the Visual Arts Committee juries art and then selects art to be installed in the city. Here's some examples of the exhibits that have happened over the years. And we've realized we don't have a ton of photos of past exhibits, so it's kind of focused on some of the original, things that have seen them in the past few years. Yeah, and then we did talk about the public art strategy, and use that, tried to use that as a plug for visual arts committee and the work to come. And I handed out, I don't think that many people took flyers, but I did create, some last minute flyers like around public art too, if people are interested in having any, kind of used. We have a similar template for some of our economic development materials.
I tried to put a plug in for that map that John did. It was, if you haven't seen it, gone to it, it's beautifully done. Really nice,
Yeah.
nice work. The map.
The public art map.
But at the meeting, I tried to talk about it. One fine work that that was done, and it's also you do the introduction to. You can see where it is sprinkled around the city, and you can actually see that whole yard.
Yeah, and then after we spoke, then we heard from Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson, who are the artists behind the bear that's made out of pennies at Google headquarters. So they've made art at Burning Man. I think they do art at Burning Man every year, and they've done the penny bears in different colors. They had a few other spots. And so
They were character.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
characters, yeah.
yeah, they were. Yeah, but it went really well. I know there was a question about doing this again somewhere, so.
Because they were sold out, right?
Yeah, they were sold out.
Capacity of the.
Yeah,
Just redoing the same program.
It's about
yeah,
what,
yeah.
Then I can go.
50, 60?
Yeah.
Good number of people. I was surprised.
Yeah, I've been.
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah.
we could say like once that we have an art strategy, like.
yeah. Well, and
a
I was.
Launch event to
Unveiling
maybe.
party.
I was kind of hoping to get to walk through the fancy Google building to get to the room, and we didn't get to do that, so that may have brought a few people in.
The location.
Still interesting to walk around there. If you haven't already, that white round thing on the corner, it's just spectacular. Just to stand under that, it's an amazing piece of art. I think.
If the presentation happens again before the public art strategy is passed, it's still a good opportunity for us to say, hey, art lovers, come give your public commentary at this upcoming meeting.
Yeah.
And yeah, the information that we have can be used at just community outreach or as part of the community outreach around the public art strategy. So you can say, look at, the city had done these things in the past, and we could do similar projects again. The community is interested in that and wants to see that.
Pam is still she's still on the downtown committee.
Yes, yeah. Just have another sheet.
So. A lot of work.
Yeah, thank you to Susan for helping me put the presentation together and for Cliff for stepping in last
Yeah, I had
minute.
COVID, so- I had
Do the
COVID, so-
presentation.
Yeah, good,
So
good
Cliff
stepping in,
was
Cliff.
jumping
You did
in.
well. And you too.
Yeah, no,
I thought they were a good presentation.
You did, I thought you did.
Yeah.
Presentation.
Good visual aids.
Visual. That's good. That was just a briefing, right? So. no-
Yeah, just a briefing.
Anything, so. Eight, that's the bucket where we think Holland's fresh news. And one's gonna be the study session, right?
Yeah.
As Kirsten's working on bringing up the notes, just to frame the conversation, so it was a good conversation with council. It's about a 2-hour study session item. They gave us.
Just that one item was 2 hours.
Yes. So, but it was, I think in general, council was extremely supportive of the work that was done. They have some direction, which Kristen will get into. One of the things that staff needs to figure out is the approach to outreach, and better engagement. And so the purpose of having this in section 8 is just to give you some background with an intent to come back at the next meeting with a little bit better game plan, phasing of next steps. So it's not our intent to kick the can down the road, but we need to figure out the phasing based upon the recommendations. So that's the reason why the item is at 8 right now, is just, here's what we heard in case you didn't hear it. Our intent is to come back at the next meeting and actually have a robust conversation around timing, phasing, next steps, and what that can look like. Recognizing this went not quite 3 weeks ago, and we haven't had time to kind of figure out the phasing of things. So that's why it's here on this part of the agenda.
Yeah, thank you, John. So as part of the study session, we asked council 3 questions. I'm gonna focus questions. So the first one was just general feedback or changes to the draft vision statement and goals that the VAC prepared. So majority of the council liked the draft vision and goals that were already prepared. There was like a suggested rewording. So the rewording is for the vision statement. Mountain View is an arts destination with diverse public art that enriches the city's innovative and creative culture and enhances the vibrancy of our diverse community. I don't have the original noted on here, but I think it was a really minor change, maybe just flipping around kind of a few of the words. And most of the council agreed and supported the suggestion. And then they also supported adding measurable goals as part of this. So I think they liked the goals that we had, but making them a little bit more measurable and easy to define, associated with a timeline. The second question was whether council agreed that all the elements and policies there's a table that talked about best practices around funding mechanisms and policies. So whether they agreed that all of those policies should be included in the public art strategy. So that was like the % for art and private development, public development, an in lieu fee option, the maintenance and deaccessioning policies, and grant funding. So they, and TOT, all the different funding sources. So majority supported exploring all of these as options. There wasn't anything that was removed out from that. And they supported dedicated funding for public art. They did ask to add some more around partnerships and volunteers, so probably similar to what the past BAC did around asking sponsorships, similar to that. And then just wanting to ensure that they asked that we make sure that the policies and funding aligned with other existing plans and programs. So really as part of every review or new plan that the city puts in place, we really have to look at kind of other existing things that other existing guidelines that we have, make sure that they're in alignment. And then the third question, so what specific outcomes are most important to achieve with a public art strategy? The example being, should the strategy focus on providing public art in areas of the city that experience less private development, or have fewer public facilities, where art would be created under the current policy. So, really that example is like, our capital improvement projects may be focused in certain areas. And so should we explore adding it to areas where it's not yet seen? So majority supported, supported expanding art, throughout the whole city. They want to see it everywhere. And this, under this discussion too, so looking at outcomes that are important. Majority supported a dedicated person with an arts background. And they had strong support for things like historic markers or plaques to talk about the art pieces and tell the history about it. Connect it back to the community. And just in general, making sure that art aligns with the place, history, and culture of Mountain.
Hey.
Welcome.
So that was really, that's the summary of the feedback that we got. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, John?
No, not, well, the addition would be, so when it comes to study sessions, just kind of framing for the VAC, when it comes to study sessions, we take kind of the majority guidance or majority comments and structure around that. So the comment would be, there were a lot of support for all the work that's already been done. So I would say most of the lift has been done. Other areas to explore are really kind of these funding mechanisms and what could work in Mountain View is one piece. The other is additional outreach and engagement with the community in terms of the types of art, where it should be, how it should function, things of that nature. So staff's intent is to take the majority feedback, slightly augment based upon work that the VAC's already done, get the public a little more, be more out in the open about the work of the public art strategy, and then come back trying to align with the majority guidance. So that means developing a document based upon the input. So we will put together a phasing schedule, what we think potential outreach is, who we should be outreaching to, potential communities, individuals, partners, things of that nature, and helping refine that. What we envision next meeting.
I have a question regarding that because I'm trying to understand, because the work that we did as a subcommittee was not included in the package, right? Which was something we had multiple times asked. What's the reasoning behind that, to not do that? Because I understand to not have it in the presentation, but why not have it like further? Because it's best practices expanded, basically, right? And I thought it's a bit of a missed I know the reasoning. I mean, we talked about it extensively, right? Why we wouldn't want to go forward too much. But I feel like it's a somewhat of a missed opportunity for question 2, right? Where we're asking council, like, do you see anything else that we should add? I mean, you could argue both ways, right? But it could also be if you have the whole menu available, which they didn't have, maybe we would have gotten a feedback from them, like, I like A, B, and C, but I don't like F, right? But they didn't have that. So I'm wondering what the rationale was to not do it.
So once again, I mean, council with a baked strategy when they have had no opportunity to engage is not a good best practice. So part of this was keeping it at a higher level to give that guidance. The there was a time and place in local government where you staff and consultants could develop strategies and say, adopt. That's not the best practice of doing things in this way. It is, give us your input, staff and or consultants or a combination thereof will go engage with the community based upon the direction you've given and develop a strategy that reflects their input and viewpoints and communities.
Yeah, can I
So
comment on that?
laying out a document that had a had vision, goals, and a bunch of strategies without actually having council ever provide guidance on what they would like to see as a document was coming a baked cake. Instead of, we have some ingredients where there's different directions you can take these. Cake, cupcakes, pie, whatever it is, that is the point of the study session.
So based upon what you I'll take most things that we had, say, okay, let's take these up now. These have fit in and prioritize, et cetera. So we can have a pretty active working meeting in that coming month.
So I think the other key aspect was goals, not goals being measurable. And there's a finesse to writing goals that are measurable. It's not just, we want art in all of Mountain View. That's, what does that mean?
So we didn't get it, in front of them at this meeting. But I attended and I heard council ask to see the subcommittee's work at the next meeting. There was interest in that. So will that be going to them next time, since council expressed interest in seeing the work of the subcommittee? We want them to see it. We seem to be.
Effectively, the next time it goes, it will be a
Yeah.
strategy document.
Yeah, and then,
Which reflects.
Yes, and then they can transform that into measurable goals, but they'll at least have our
Well,
work too.
It's upon staff and or consultant to develop the measurable goals. They want to tweak them.
Got it.
It's here's how that.
And there would be, the goal is to do quite a bit of community outreach to add to what's been done already.
In our next meeting in December, we'll discuss that, what the schedule is and when.
And whether we
And when to go back
should
to council.
bring on a firm to help with the engagement with the community or not, whether that makes sense. There are firms that are very good at teasing things out and working with communities and doing that, or is this a staff like, those are decision points.
The next meeting will be a good meeting.
So I think maybe what Susie would like, and definitely what I would like, is like getting that document the subcommittee created out in front of as many people as possible. So including during the public outreach, and say, what do you think of this public? Is this?
Yeah, I feel like we need to be sensitive because I totally agree, I understand the reasoning, but I feel like, maybe there is a way, there's an in-between, right? Like because what council got was very high level and we went to fine grain. But I think there's something in between as well, right? Where there's strategy, where there's measurable goals, where not every initiative is already spelled out, basically. So I think it would probably definitely be worthwhile if we engage in that discussion again.
If this goes along as expected, how many more study sessions, how many more meetings, what happens with
Timeline?
council?
It is not anticipated the next logical step would be engaging with the community, get their sentiments. How does that align with work that's already been done by the community? Because once again, operating in a vacuum, for the most part, 8 people collectively contributing to strategy that impacts 84,000 people.
I wouldn't say we've been operating in a vacuum. I mean, we've had community outreach before with a whole consultancy firm that we hired, and that fed into our plan that we created. So we did get public input. It's
Once again, it's been very narrow as far as a document in public engagement. I'm not disagreeing, public engagement hasn't happened. I'm making a statement that it has been very targeted, which good, bad, or indifferent can create some bias in some of the outcomes. So let's engage the whole community. What does it envision for art in the community? From that, refine the strategies based upon that feedback, because that may inform the people in this room. Oh, we didn't know this was of interest. Or, wow, there's a need for this type of art that we maybe haven't collectively discussed or thought about. And what does that look like as a strategy to implement? Because that's what the community is telling us. More murals, that's a big thing. What kind of murals? Those are the kinds of things you want to engage and learn about to help shape what those strategies are. Question, the intent is to take that feedback, refine it, and bring back a document for council consideration. Whatever policies that are aligned with that come together at that point in time.
So is the expectation that this is 2025 thing,
Yes.
not a 2027 thing?
So you can get it, I think really you can get it done in.
So a vast majority of work has already been done. You do bring the public along
This is
in the
engagement.
conversation.
Okay. So
Public was engaged in 2019. Specifically, Art and Wine Festival, 2 neighborhood meetings.
Monster Bash, the Adobe building,
2019,
and just letting you know.
2019.
That we did.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is there just needs to be more public engagement. That's all.
Did you get any feedback in that nice chart that you had? Package about how Mountain View stacks up against the other communities? Was there any, oh no, we can't do that type of reaction, or was it all positive to explore? Anything that
The one
no go?
The one area that needs to be defined is the percent for art and private development, given recent lawsuits and how that gets structured because of Nolan and Dolan interpretations at the Supreme Court. So that is more of a nuanced how you structure that for your community. Other communities adopted that a long time ago. Mountain View would be coming to the table after this decision, of how you structure a potential ordinance around that needs to reflect the latest Supreme Nexus, Nolan, or private development. And the attorney spoke.
Yeah.
That was the only one that was.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I do have a few more updates. So SV Create sent out an invitation for their content magazine pickup party. I think everyone should have received it. And I think everyone will now be getting newsletters from them too. I had to check back in. So if you hadn't been getting the newsletters, or if you asked to get the magazine, you should be getting both now. You can still, even if you ask for the magazine to be mailed to you, you can go to the pickup party and as an attender. The last event was really interesting. They had dancers and good food and drinks. So if you're available, it's Friday, November 22nd. If anyone is welcome to go. And then other update, so the call for artists for the Center for Performing Arts exhibit for 2025 and 2026, that was released on November 4th. We're accepting applications through January 13th, I think it is, and then we'll be doing the jurying review and selection in February of 2025. And then last update, so technically the time frame to apply for the Visual Arts Committee, the 2 openings has passed, but we still have 2 openings. I don't believe we've received any applications for the 2 positions that we have for the Visual Arts Committee. So if you know of artists in Mountain View that would be interested in joining and participating, you can still send them the information. They can contact us, or the city clerk. If they contact us, we'll pass them along to the clerk's office. I think they would just be appointed on a different timeline than if they had applied by November 8th. We would still be
I
able to.
actually know of somebody who applied, but she's not in the country on the 22nd. And I think she was waiting to hear back from Wanda. That's possible in any way. And that's a person who would be super interesting. Her main job is heritage preservation worldwide. So placemaking and whatever goes into heritage, right? Culture and art as well. But she is in Borneo without internet connection on the 22nd. She told me, and but she submitted an application.
Okay,
But then I think she doesn't know, right, if she's gonna be considered.
yeah, and maybe we just haven't, maybe the clerk's office is still combing through applications too, so maybe we just haven't been updated on that. But if you wanna have her reach out to us or let us know what her name is, so we can.
Yeah,
check in
I
with the
can
clerk.
tell her to reach out to you.
Yeah. That's all the updates that I have.
Yeah.
We still have the restrictions on committee members having to be citizens and Mountain View residents. Is that right? Okay. Are there any other restrictions I forgot about?
And general interest for occupancy and art.
Anybody else? We have a member of the public here. Can you open the number 8 to the public?
I was late. So I'm Haruno, John. So I just wanted to know the update for the project. I got commission from Mountain View in 2021. It's about a mural for Renstrow Park, but I also know that right now statewide, like, like the mural project has been postponed. And then John, you told me that you're gonna give me update on November, and I'm wondering what's going on here.
So, yeah, thank you for the question. So as you are aware, the state of California issued guidance as it relates to painting. While artists such as yourself doing murals is definitely a craft, not just painting for the sake of painting. It has been viewed as, in the interpretation from the city's legal department, is you need to be a contractor, a C-26 contractor. Now, the person gave an update at the beginning of the meeting. There is some efforts underway at the state level lobby and have that interpretation changed or have artists exempted specifically doing mural work. But under the state's determination, it groups painting, and unfortunately, artists that do murals were required to have a I believe it's a 26 contractor's license, which became news to us in the last 4 or 5 months. Most cities were caught by surprise by this, which because you work in other communities in California, this has been a problem. So the alternatively would be to paint on some substrate and have that substrate attached, but do a whole painting offsite and just attach it is really the only alternative that exists potentially right now. But if the city executes a contract under the guidelines as of today, it would require you being a C20, I believe it's a C26 contractor. And I don't,
I have right now also a project with Palo Alto for, outside, and they don't request me to have a contract license. So I think so I'm having like similar issue between Palo Alto and Mountain View, but Palo Alto told me that they're gonna support me fully. So they want me to paint next year, no matter what condition, and they're gonna absorb the cost if they're sued, but they have, like, and then they already did several projects between, the time that this issue was flared up and now, and nobody sued them. So they've been leaving what they're doing. But on the other side, Mountain View project, it's been on the plate since 2021, nothing moved. And like, I do understand that you want to follow all the steps and protocols, but like seeing two cities, how they act to public art product like situation, it's like it's very hard for me to continue keeping interest in this project because I have been waiting so long and nothing happens physically for so long time. Yeah.
I understand. This is not a good response and it's not gonna go over well in my response to this room. I'm one of 5 signatures on that agreement. I can sign that agreement. But if one person doesn't sign that agreement, you don't have an agreement. And legal interpretation, I'm not a lawyer. Know nothing about the law. A legal interpretation is there is a risk to the city that from a legal perspective, anyone that signs that agreement can be fined up to $20,000 for a $20,000 agreement. 20,000, 20,000, 1,000, 20,000 for a $20,000 agreement. I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just telling you the guidance that we're, as staff, we're operating under. So we are hopeful that this change occurs. I know our attorney has been talking with other communities. I'm not sure if it's Palo Alto, but I know he's been talking with other communities. And the interpretation is either paint off-site, patch, or under the current interpretation right now is to paint, or if it's going to be painted on the building and it's a municipally funded agreement, you have a contractor's. I don't mean to be curt, but that is the guidance that staff is under right now.
You can, from what you described, you can go back to the legal department with this meeting and say, we had an artist who faces a major discrepancy between two cities.
I've-
And you can.
Before Hiromo got here tonight, a month ago, I had a conversation explaining what other cities are doing. So believe me, I'm sympathetic. I'm not trying to be a bureaucrat. I'm just telling you where the guidance is coming from. This has gone up. Like, it's not me making a decision. This has gone up in this organization.
So, and expect this project disappears? Is it something like I need to think like that? Cause I need to know, my schedule started to really look up. And having this like uncertainty is kind of a big burden for me as a full-time artist here in London.
So we got some information, which I did share with the committee, from legal. So we're hoping there is a path forward. If that path forward gives risk or reduces the potential risk, then I think everything's fine, but the interpretation in the legal guidance right now, it's given to staff, is there needs to be a contractor.
Do we have a timeline for the remedy to this?
So we understand there are several cities cities have lobbies. This is being lobbied for a change, an administrative change. And what we've been told is there are a few Bay Area cities that have come together and are making this lobby request. That's
So 5 years, yeah.
well, no, so why don't we take this conversation offline? I'm happy to follow up with you tomorrow. Based upon information received today, see, because there isn't necessarily a timeline, but I know they've been pushing on this issue. So let me follow up with you tomorrow. I've had a chance to have a conversation with legal on what they think that is and what the reality of it is. That timeline was not sure.
But I also want to ask you for if you provide a surface and for my studio space, I want to know who made that one and what material you choose. I think those two are necessary to know. And I hope I'm not the one who make it. And then who pay for it.
Yeah, no, that would be that seems to be the alternative approach to doing murals now is putting it on some surface that is, and have it be mounted. Is when you come on site, the education for everyone. When you come on site, you're being paid by the city, you're being a contractor.
I know. What, does the artist get to pick the material? So that they,
We'll have to coordinate with the Public Works Engineering team to see what makes sense to actually install on there and
Because-
what's gonna be durable enough.
Yeah, there's probably something tried and true.
Because the one unique element of this project that got awarded was these are modular, it's a modular build. So just trying to understand how that would attach versus painting on a building. So that's the thing we need to ask.
And
So I will follow up with you tomorrow. Let me once again get a Horizon because that was not provided to us today, so.
That's good.
I think the learning from this is that we need better communication, right? And I think part of the problem is also, I mean, this, you got this award in 2021, and I think the buildings are not even there yet, right? The timeline is also so long, which can be good or bad, right? Because you know way ahead, but but I think that's also boils down to good communication, because when we awarded it, the buildings were not even, they're still not built, right, to put the mural on. But that artists know that, and that's a constant back and forth, that artists know that this was awarded way, way, way ahead and will take time. And
I don't get paid
and-
during this entire time.
exactly, and I think that.
But you're an artist. Money is not the.
That's definitely the takeaway from
Making a
this,
free
right?
studio so that I don't need to.
We adjourn.
Do it because you love it. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Remember,
Would
this
We're
is
still in public.
Yes.
you go work on the building in the great outdoors and the sunshine and all that? Or if you had the option to roll out a sheet of whatever and paint in your studio, would you rather do that?
I can do both. I
Okay.
have to do.
No food prep.
Like, we attach something on the surface, you need to think about mold issue, right? That's something like. About. And then we shouldn't go lamination option. It can be done and cheaper, but it doesn't last more than 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we go.
So those are the things we need
Yeah.
that need to come into the conversation.
Yeah.
A whole new layer of fun.
And also to her ballparking her schedule, like she's saying it's
Oh, yeah.
filling up, so if there's some, I mean, like within, if we even had a time frame within this period of time, realistically, like this job's gonna be available, so you can organize your own schedule and take other
Exactly.
things, that's huge for an artist.
Yeah.
That would be a really good idea, but I have now 2 really huge projects working. I can't do anything until this. So.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is such valuable information for us, right? Thanks
Yeah,
so much
no,
for
good
coming.
to hear from your side of it.
Thank you so much for
And
being here.
Good.
Do you want to update? Yeah, about our meeting?
Oh,
Subcommittee
that's
meeting?
right, yeah. Yeah, Cliff and I are in the subcommittee to work with Anita, right, for Arts Mountain Youth. And we had, and Cliff, so we had a brief meeting with her, but more like a get to know each other meeting. And the outcome was that Cliff and I would give her a short list of muralists that we would recommend. She would do the outreach. We felt that that shouldn't not be us. She would do that, and we would see who's interested, and out of the pool that would come back, who would be interested, we would guide her, and she wanted to get the Savvy Sellers tenant that's on the station building involved as well for buy-in. So what she suggested was, once we know who's interested and available, that we would include him.
She is very clear about what she wants on the building, how it's gonna be manufactured, how it's gonna be mounted. So she has a very clear goal.
So her
And
workaround is
very-
actually putting panels on the station building and digital printing onto the panels. She has
Oh, so it's very clear in her
not
mind.
actual painting on the panels, digital.
It's very clear what she wants, and she's gotten feedback from BPA about what they want. So she can give the artist a very clear goal. She wants color, she wants fusion, she wants history, she wants up 8 or 10 panels cetera. So it's very clear in her mind what she wants, how it's gonna be manufactured. So it's very tangible. What she doesn't have is the artist to engage.
Right.
And Susie's put together a beautiful spreadsheet. Yes, magnificent. 200 artists classified what they do, just beautiful. And because of this great work, it was easy for us to kind of whittle it down in a subset. What Anita's, now we're hoping Anita is able to do, because of Susie's fine work, is Susie also had the contact of each of the artists. So the, asking now Anita to reach out and see who's interested, who's available, who wants, et cetera. So once she gets back, we'll be able to help.
Moving ahead.
But this is tangible because she's an excellent project manager. Very clear goal, very clear timeline, very clear on funding.
Is this kind of her solo thing, or does she have people working with her?
She's,
Kind of her solo.
she's got,
Yeah.
it's her.
Help out a bit.
Yeah, but it's just driven by her.
She's a force of nature.
She is.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's really, so it's a pleasure for us to help her.
Yeah, sure.
She kind of wants us to do a little bit more than we're really wanting to do.
I'm really glad she wants us involved.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to do
And-
best
and-
job we
and we'll
can.
try to bring him on back to the committee once we kind of know who's interested, who she finds
It's
interested.
too early right now because we
Sure.
don't know if anybody says yes, but once we know more.
Cool. So you're still looking for artists?
She's too busy. She's too busy.
I have also for yours. Already too much.
And other than that, I just hope that Dawn and Jesse will do the next meetings. and
We will.
Really say goodbye.
No dine and dash.
Celebrate your service.
It's your last meeting next time.
It is.
It is
It's,
the last
it's the
meeting,
end of an
yes.
era.
Yes, end of an era.
I don't know what I'm gonna do on Wednesday.
No way, every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Zoom. Dial
I
in.
know. I'll get a hat and all in. and-
Didn't work. Just let you know.
The Zoom link didn't work.
Zoom little thing. I tried to join this meetings through Zoom.
Oh.
And the phone call, both didn't work. Just letting you.
Oh, that's good to know.
We're way more fun in person.
That's true.
I'm sorry, that didn't work. We should look into that. You good? Anybody else? Adjourning the meeting at 7:20.
Record time.
Bam.
Record.
Yeah.
Wow.